You're with BBC Radio Gloucestershire. That, of course, Katrina and the Waves and Walking on Sunshine. On the way, James Blunt and a great one from Chic. Now, we've already heard from an 11-year-old guitarist who's got the potential to be the next Eric Clapton, so I thought I'd now bring you the next, I don't know, Jenson Button, Lewis Hamilton, either or. This young man from Cheltenham started karting when he was 8, and when he was 9, he won the Best Improver award whilst racing at the Castle Combe circuit. By the time he was 15, he'd already passed his national racing licence test with 100%. He's had numerous podium finishes in all kinds of racing competitions, and now, at the age of 20, he's a racing instructor. You know, isn't it amazing sometimes when you read somebody's details and you suddenly think, they've got their whole life ahead of them, and they've already managed to do all of that. I heard about Michael Broadhurst, and I just thought he had to come into the studio and tell me his story in his own words. I just wanted to speak to the sort of person that has, I don't know, not great ambitions, but just great talent again. And he came into the studio a couple of days back, and I started by asking him in his own words to tell us how he started racing and where did he get the bug bite from?
It's probably when I was about 5, because my dad was always really keen on racing. He used to do a bit of rally driving, so it was always like a bit of a buzz in the family.
Yeah.
I used to watch Formula 1, and Damon Hill used to be a big hero when I was a kid.
I mean, frankly, it's depressing that you were 5 when Damon Hill was winning.
Yeah, I know. I've still got youth on my side, so it's all right.
For goodness sake.
Oh, I know. Mansell's Pross, all that, and plus all that Damon Hill.
So you remember Damon Hill racing? You remember? I mean, did you have the classic sort of family experience of Sunday afternoon sitting in front of the Grand Prix, one of you falling asleep? That was generally what happened in our house.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much how it went all the time.
I mean, but it's hell of a major step from going from getting interested in watching the Grand Prix and your dad doing a bit of rally driving, to going into racing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it fills the time of it, isn't it? It's something to do on a weekend.
When did you have your first race in anger then?
Oh, I mean, the first time I actually sat in a car, I was about 8, and that was at the Gloucester Karting Centre, because my dad knew the owners at the time, so he just thought, would give him a go and see how well he gets on with it, and I just loved it. I just got the bug for it.
Can you remember how that actually felt first time round?
It felt slow.
Oh, sorry, you're 8 in a cart?
Yeah, it was... I put the go pedal down and it wouldn't go any faster. I thought, no, I want to go a bit faster than this. And I just hooked on it. And so the next thing we did after that, went to a karting club at Castle Combe, off the main circuit. And from there went into like more clubby stuff at Little Rissington, near Bourne on the Water, and just got more into it. But, the more we got into it, the more expensive it got. It just got harder and harder. So we thought we'll leave all this karting stuff and jump to proper racing cars. I did that at 16.
I mean, 16, you were in racing cars before you were legally allowed to drive?
Well, yeah, I'd only driven... the day before I did my first single-seater test, I'd just taken my racing licence, and it was only the second time I'd driven a car. So that was a bit nutty. And then the next day was at Bedford Autodrome testing a 350 brake horsepower FPA car.
So hang on. Can we wind this back a little bit?
I mean, you can fast forward a bit.
Yeah, I know. There appears to be sort of fast tracking you towards some sort of...
A little bit, yeah.
Very, very fast cars. I mean, when you're 16 and that's happening around you, I think you're far more resilient than many other times in your life, because it's just sort of happening around you.
It's just childish ignorance. You can just get in it and you don't really think of the consequences. I think that's something that, youth has on its side.
Is one of those? Is that something that sort of the great drivers are the ones that know about their own mortality but don't have a sense of fear? Is fear that something that holds you back?
It's the thought of having to actually get the checkbook out when something goes wrong is the thing that holds you back a bit. If you haven't got an endless supply of resources to say, right, okay, I'll just replace that, then you have got that little element of doubt to think, oh, I've got to go a bit easier this time because it might get a bit expensive. So there is always that in the back of your mind, but, I mean, once you're out in circuit, you just, you've got a job to do, and you've just got to go for it and do the best you can, and that's it, really. I mean, think about the consequences afterwards.
I mean, I've just been talking to a musician who's talking about, he records his first take.
Yeah.
A race is always a first take, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There is no way of getting back from your mistakes.
Definitely. And you just got to keep it on the black stuff.
I mean, is it that immediacy that you enjoy as well? that there is
Absolutely.
if you make an error, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah,
it may hurt.
absolutely. And that's the great thing about the start of the race, because you've got up to 30, 40 cars on the grid at once, and they're all trying to go for the first corner, and you've got to try and pick your way through that while making space up without losing any places, and keep your nose clean.
How do you do that?
You've got to be sensible about it. I mean, because I'm racing in GTs this year, the races are like an hour long and 2 hours long, and you're also sharing the race with another driver, because you've got 2 drivers per car. So you've got to be sensible about it and not do anything stupid on the first lap, because races aren't ultimately won on the first corner of the first lap of the first day of the weekend. So,
but they're often lost.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you've just got to get through it, just keep your head down, and then once everything settles down a bit and the race kind of plans out a bit, then you can start using a bit of tactic and a bit of nous. But it's just going for the opportunity, really.
How does it actually feel sitting there? I mean, do the GTs have the rolling start? Or
yeah, we have the rolling start.
Yeah, you have the rolling start. So when you're on the parade lap beforehand, and everything's going.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind? How does it actually physically feel?
Well, I mean, it was a bit of a culture shock this year, because the first race of the year, it was packed, and there were about Easter Monday, there were about 35,000 people there. So we're driving around the circuit, and every bank it was full of faces and full of people, and you could hear the air horns and things going through the car. So, it gives you a really good buzz, and, it can fires you up. And it's, the adrenaline's going and everything's kind of going, really, really slowly. So you can absorb everything on that opening lap, and it just gives you, more ammunition for the start, so it just fires you up even more. And then once the lights go out, all of that just kind of goes in the background. You just focus on, getting on with the job in hand.
Is it almost the start of a race is one of those things that's only partially remembered because you're so full of adrenaline?
It's got a surreal feel to it, definitely, and it depends how it goes. If you make a really bad job of it, then it
will stay with you forever.
Well, you kind of push it into a back door somewhere and hope someone ever brings it up. But if it's one of those really, really memorable ones, it comes up every weekend in the pub or something.
Yeah.
And it's where things, like you said, are lost or won. More often lost.
Michael Broadhurst on BBC Radio Gloucestershire, and you can hear more from Michael on tomorrow's programme, looking into the financial aspect of trying to be a young racing driver, because let's just say it's a touch on the costly side. Incidentally, if you want to find out more information, all you need to do is put Michael Broadhurst into any of the search engines on the internet. It'll bring up his website, and you can find out more details about him, his aspirations, and possibly, on the money side, you never know, maybe there's a bit of helping out you can do.